Hi folks, I was thinking one thing that I really struggled with and still do, like at my worst times of feeling like really down or really in shock from something bad happening, or or like emotional flashbacks and all that type of stuff, just where things seem too tough to even want to try and do anything. One really useful thing I found, and I can't quite remember how I found out about it, but someone told me our minds can only think of one thing at a time. Like even people that are multitasking, like where they say they're multitasking, they're actually thinking of one thing at a time, but they just like think of lots of things within that period of time that they're doing the activity, But my point I'm trying to remember to say is when we're feeling really overwhelmed by stuff and we feel like we don't even want to try and do things to build things up, and we don't even want to try and make things better because we feel like things are so bad, and we feel like every time we try to do something it doesn't work out right for us. So like for myself, I ended up not even wanting to try anymore because it felt like every time I tried to do something it would make things worse, and because something would go wrong, But one thing I found really useful is like, because we can only think of one thing at a time, if we actually start to do something, like any activity, like any physical activity, especially something that takes our concentration, then that means our mind can't be thinking of all the troubles that we were feeling weighed down by, So a really good thing to do is basically just start doing anything. Like actually just, even though we don't feel like it, just physically get up off the seat we're on or where we're lying down and just get up and go and get something and do something. Like even if it's like washing the dishes or going out for a walk's a good one, and like look at especially if you're in an open space, like look at the sky around you and the clouds and the trees, and really focus on those things, and then that takes our mind off the troubles. And also if we start to, when we start to do something, we quite often feel like doing it more than before we started doing it. So that thing of not feeling like doing anything when we're feeling everything's going wrong, or when we feel things are too bad and so we don't feel like doing something, like the only way our lives are going to get better is if we do try to do something, like, because otherwise we're guaranteed to stay feeling rubbish, and we're guaranteed to stay feeling stuck in the same place, and we're guaranteed to feel like we're not getting anywhere towards where we want to be, So like the only way to make things better is to try and do things even though we don't feel like it. And like a really, really, really good thing to do is just start doing something to get closer to what we want. And a great way to do it is like write a list of really simple tasks, like little easy things that are just little short tasks that'll, like things that'll get us closer to things being how we want them to be. So like, it doesn't have to be big stuff, and it's better in a way if it's small things that we think would be useful to get done, So like with myself, like I'm not a very tidy person, as anyone that knows me can tell you, and that's why I keep the camera so close to my face so you can't see the state of my room. But like with me, like my list quite often has tidy up my room at the top of it, or even you can break it down into smaller things. Like if you want to study something or to learn something, you could write on your list like clear a space to practice my guitar, or to write a story, clear a space to exercise on, or and then or your list could have things like do 5 minutes of exercise, or running on the spot, or go for a walk. And like if we make a little list of nice things we'd like to do that are useful to do, and it would help us to get closer to things being better, like just even little small things. If we write a list of things we could manage to do in a day, and then we try to even do one thing off that list, and then if we manage to do that one small thing off the list, then we can feel really good sometimes that we've managed to get that thing done. And then we can build momentum up over time where like we can keep that list and then add other things to it, or write a new list with those things on it. And if we keep on doing just little things to get the things on our list done of things we'd like to do or to have achieved, then each time we get something done that we'd like to get done, then we feel better. And also it can improve like us, how we feel about being able to get things done. So over time, like I used to feel like everything went wrong all the time, but then now I'm realizing like quite often things do go wrong when I try to make things better, but the more things we try and do, there's a small percentage of them that will actually work out. And maybe not always, and maybe not over time, they maybe don't always work, but over time there is a percentage of stuff that works when we try and do it. So like if you try and do lots of things on your lists of things to do that you'd like to get done, then over time you can start to feel like, oh, actually if I put in effort to do something, then if I do enough things, then you'll start to notice changes in your life where little things start to get better. Like you'll feel better if you've done a bit of exercise every day, or gone for a walk, or if you've managed to get out of the house, if you struggle to get out of the house, if you manage to sit on your front doorstep for 5 minutes with a cup of tea, and you'll feel like, oh, I've managed to do that, you know. And then over time you can build that up. And if you have setbacks, like where something upsetting happens and it makes you not want to do the thing anymore, then you can try to do other things and then gradually build up doing the thing you want to get done again later, you know. And we don't have to get it all done perfectly in the first time we try. And I found basically it's like really useful to have little lists of things we'd like to get done, and then even though I don't feel like it, just the thing of getting up when I don't feel like it to try and do something, and feeling like, tell yourself like, it doesn't matter if I don't get the task finished, it'd be good just to try. And like, and then like if you get up, and like with myself, when I get up and just try and do some like play my guitar or something, like or try to do some of the dishes or something, like I might not get the whole thing done depending on how bad I'm feeling on the day, but if I can get even a little bit of it done, it can help build up feeling better about the day, and then that can help build up how we generally feel and lift up our average mood and all that, and it can lift up our like confidence in how we feel about how well we can get things done, you know. And like over time, and by doing the things, it takes our mind off our troubles, because we're focusing our mind on doing the activity, and especially if it's something that takes concentration, like building something or putting something together, or physically doing something. If we're doing that, then it takes our mind off our troubles. Like if we're thinking about past things all the time, that things that happened years ago or months ago, or traumas we had, if we keep on thinking about those and we keep on getting flashbacks, it's really useful to just get up and make yourself do something. Like even though it seems impossible, just do anything. Like get up and like walk to the other side of the room and then back again, and pick up a book and put it down. And you don't even have to do a lot of concentration, but the more activities we do, the more it'll take our mind off our troubles. And then if we start to put our mind on to things we want to happen, that helps a lot as well. To like start to imagine to yourself, like, what would I really like to happen, and then try and come up with lists of things that you'd like to happen, and then try and come up with, for each of those things, like come up with ideas for how you could make those things happen, and then try and do the steps to make those little things happen, or those big things to make those big things happen. And then by trying to do those things, we can take our mind off our troubles and build up how we're feeling. And like I definitely still struggle where I'll get hit by some bad news or a memory of something, and I'll really get knocked back down and really struggle for a few days sometimes to even just keep on like trying in life, and like it can be really hard. But it helps a lot to get out of those terrible feelings faster if we just like try and think of something we would like to do and something we would like to have happen, and try and figure out a way to make it happen, and then write a list of things we can do to make things closer to how we want them to be, and then try to do those things on those lists and try to do those steps to make those things happen. And honestly, like I was in such a bad way with everything, and even just like the last couple of days I was in a really bad way with everything, but like I've been finding that over time I can manage to pull myself out of those periods of total despair, like where I feel like just giving up. Like I can pull myself out of that sometimes just much faster, like not immediately, but it still takes a few days or sometimes weeks or stuff, but like compared to before when it was like months and months after bad news or something where I would be just totally devastated. Like if this thing of like trying to do stuff and writing lists of things you'd really like to get done, even small things like I would like to buy myself a book that I'd like to read, or I'd like to get myself something nice to eat, or I'd like to start building up feeling like I want to eat by snacking regularly, and and like write a list of things that you could do, and like try to do those things. And it's amazing, like the sort of effect it has, where over time when we see that through putting an effort into doing things, we can actually like make things closer to how we want them to be. And let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas of things that help to get things on lists done, because I'm still really bad at not starting doing lists sometimes, but it really helps a lot to just think of what you'd really like to have happen and try to do things. And by trying to do things, like especially physical things that take your mind and concentration, that'll take your mind off your troubles quite a lot, and it'll help you to get your mind onto things that'll hopefully help to build up life to closer to how we want it. So I'd better go for now, but lots of love to you. Keep in touch, and don't forget to press subscribe so you can see things that I find are useful to make life better. And I'm just doing this video to say what I find makes things better. One thing I find is just think of what you'd really like to do and write lists of things you'd really like to get done, and then try and think of the steps to make those things happen, and write those. Sorry, the video cut out there. And then make those lists. And then make those steps on your list happen by trying to do them. And then over time we can really sometimes get a lot closer to how we want to feel. And we still have really tough days and really tough times sometimes, but it can really help a lot, even like especially if you don't feel like it, to just try and do something, even a small thing, to make something happen that's better for you. Like get yourself something nice to eat or a nice cup of tea, and get up off where you're sitting and look at something out of the window, or just do things to get your mind off the troubles. And even though it feels impossible, it's really worth just trying to do something, and it can really make life a lot better over time. And even though it feels impossible now, it's really worth it, I promise you. And please try. And I better go for now, but see you later. Bye.